welcome our YouTube friends. Hello, dear friends, and welcome to the Gemini full moon. This is the third of the 3 festivals of spring, and it falls in the sign of Gemini because Gemini is considered a sign of distribution. And tonight, at the exact moment of the full moon, the Christ will distribute to all of humanity the blessing that he and his brother, the Buddha, received at the Wesak festival last month. And we're blessed to be able to be in meditation at that exact moment tonight, which is 8:42. Assuming that I've timed this all right, we'll hope for the best. So the format for tonight will be that we'll talk for a bit about Gemini, Sagittarius, and those energies, and then explain a little bit more about the festival, and then close with our visualization and with a silent meditation time as we tune in to this important moment. This full moon festival is called by several names. It's called the Festival of the Christ, the Festival of Humanity, and the Festival of Goodwill. It's called the Festival of the Christ because, as we know, it was the Christ who stood at the stone altar during the Wesak festival and received the cosmic energies of the Lord Buddha. At this Gemini festival, those energies will be dispersed onto all of humanity. It is also sometimes called the Festival of Humanity because humanity is the recipient of these powerful energies. The hope is that humanity will receive these energies fully into their being. We know that the more consciously we invite these energies into our being, the more potent they will be. The more powerfully they will stimulate our divine nature. This festival is also called the Festival of Goodwill, because that's the way most people will manifest this energy, as a desire to just be a better person, to do good in the world. This is a stepped down version of the power of unconditional love that the Christ demonstrates. It is up to us and the choices we make that will determine how we use this powerful blessing. The soul-centered goal of Gemini is intelligent love, the blending of the head and the heart. How can we join these 2 energies in our own lives this month? Can we demonstrate our love intelligently? I've told this story a few times in the past, but I think it bears repeating. The story goes that in one incarnation, the Buddha came into incarnation full of unconditional love, his whole being just filled with love. And he was walking through the jungle one day and came upon a lion's den. And all the little cubs in the lion's den were crying because they were starving. So the Buddha walked into the lion's den and allowed himself to be eaten by the cubs so that they could have food. Now, obviously, that's a dramatic expression of unconditional love. But if he had used his mind, his intelligence, he could have thought about a solution that wouldn't have involved him giving his life. He could have gone out and got game for the cubs. There's a lot of things he could have done. So we're asked this month to use our heads as well as our hearts and to not make decisions solely on one or the other. The Gemini personality can tend to be a bit unstable as it flits from one thing to the other, always curious, always looking for stimulation and something new. They have a very active mind. In the glyph of this sign, as you can see behind me, we see two pillars joined by a bar across the top. These two pillars represent the duality inherent in Gemini. As a personality, the Gemini person has to continually work with his dual nature, the opposing forces within himself. He struggles with joining his heart with his mind, with balancing doubt and confidence, light and dark. At the highest level, it is the duality of the soul and the personality, spirit and matter. So this month, we might ponder on the questions, where is my personality at war with itself? What are the inner battles that I'm struggling with? And how can I bring unity to these opposites? The good news is that there's a harmonizing aspect to the Gemini energy. It resides in its soul-centered ruler, Venus. She connects the opposing forces in a field of love. So when you become aware of the parts of your personality that are doing battle, you might think to invoke Venus, invoke love and harmony, and see if it can transform the battle into a unified expression of healing love. And here are some words from the Tao. The place where this and the that are not opposed to each other is called the pivot of the Tao. When we find this pivot, we find ourselves at the center of the circle. And here we sit, serene, while yes and no keep chasing each other around the circumference endlessly. So that's a good practice for us to remember when things get too chaotic, go to the center and sit quietly and serenely and find your balance again. Under the influence of the soul, Gemini becomes a transmitter of this spiritual energy of love. Once the heart is infused with love, it allows the Gemini person to see the divinity within everyone. So that is part of our task this month, to allow the energy of love to transform us. The power of love is what this third festival is all about. So let's talk for a minute about Gemini's opposite sign, Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a fire sign, while Gemini is the mental sign of air. So Sagittarius embodies the energy of adventure, exploration, freedom. Sagittarius encourages us to not get stuck in our comfort zone, but to step out courageously into the unknown. This sign also asks us to be more understanding and tolerant of differences. Sagittarius always searches for the deeper meaning of things. The glyph for Sagittarius is the archer that aims his arrow high toward his goal. Once the goal is reached, he resolutely moves toward achieving the next goal. The mantra for the Sagittarius personality is, I see the goal, I reach the goal, and see another. He's in a relentless pursuit for truth. Some words that describe facets of the Sagittarius personality are one-pointedness, explorer, the seeker of the truth, the moralist, the free spirit, the guide, the know-it-all, the philosopher. This is a helpful energy for the Gemini native because it gives Gemini the quality of groundedness and focus, which it clearly needs if he is to accomplish anything. Pam Younghans describes the blending of these two energies. quote, "With the sun in airy Gemini opposing the fiery Sagittarius moon, we are asked to use both intuition and logic to take inspired action, but also to be thoughtful and communicative, to be optimistic, but also reasonable, to stretch ourselves mentally and physically, but also to attend to our immediate surroundings and daily routines," end quote. So let's review for a moment. Last month, the Buddha and the Christ came together to blend the energies of illumination and love. They then bestowed upon all of the disciples gathered there this powerful energy. The Christ then held the remaining energy within himself to be distributed at this Gemini festival. These energies will now be poured down upon all of humanity, bringing love, light, illumination, and wisdom into the hearts of all people. Whether it's received and used in its highest form depends on the consciousness of each one of us. So part of our task this month is to prepare ourselves to receive this sacred dispensation once again and commit ourselves to using it in the highest possible way. That means connecting with the wisdom within ourselves, opening our hearts in compassion and understanding toward our fellow humans. It means walking through our days with the will to good as our guiding force. It means shining our light into all the dark places within ourselves and shining our light to all we meet. This is no easy task given the times we are in, but it is what we are called to do. Interestingly, since 1952, this festival also coincides with the World Day of Prayer, or World Invocation Day. It was created as a way to intensify the invocative appeal to the great ones, and we are told that this universal appeal evokes a tremendous downpouring of love and goodwill from the hierarchy. In 1952, on World Invocation Day, Eleanor Roosevelt read the Great Invocation over the radio that touched thousands of people. So it is that on this day, people from all over the world are encouraged to recite the Great Invocation many times throughout the day as a way to send up a powerful invocative appeal to the great ones, to pour down upon us love, light, and power. This is the power of a united invocative appeal. We are promised that there will be an evocative response, and the potency of that response depends on the power of the invocation. So I invite you to participate in this worldwide endeavor by reciting the Great Invocation as many times as is possible for you for the remainder of this day, and it wouldn't hurt to do it tomorrow as well. The Tibetan master Dwal Kul says this about this important day, quote, "The power of united prayer and meditation is as yet a little used resource. On World Invocation Day, we have the opportunity to marshal this power to aid the forces of light upon planet Earth. To invoke is to call upon, to petition for help or support, to appeal to. In the case of World Invocation Day, the appeal is being made to God and to the overshadowing beneficent forces to come to the aid of humanity and the planet in response to our united invocative appeal. It is said that the invocation could change our lives, reorient our purpose, expand our consciousness, and stabilize us in spiritual being. It could also disrupt and rebuild the planetary thought form and open the door into the new age, thus ushering in the new and better civilization. This could be done so rapidly, he says, that the needed changes would come about almost overnight, and humanity could settle down to a life of group goodwill, individual harmlessness, and right human relations. Please join together in this global day of prayer, meditation, and invocation. Together we can change the world. End quote. So let us begin our preparation for meditation. Make sure you are seated in a place where you will not be disturbed, where all distractions have been eliminated. And gently turn your focus to your breathing. Take a few deep cleansing breaths. Allow the breath to travel throughout your body, quieting, calming, creating softness and gentleness with every inhalation. Let this life breath help you to come home into the body, to settle, to relax. Feel the stresses of the day release as you exhale. Now imagine that the color violet is filling the room. This is the color of Gemini. Breathe it into your heart space and allow it to open your heart so that you are receptive to the downpouring of love that will occur as we invoke these energies of Gemini. Be aware now of your consciousness expanding, opening up, reaching up to the spiritual realms. See now in your mind's eye the image of the Christ, however you picture him. See him as clearly and fully as you can. And become aware of the energy of love that emanates from his being, and align yourself to that energy. Feel it fill your body. Imagine it expanding and enfolding your entire auric field. Then, with the conscious act of focused will, send forth your appeal, your demand that the Christ release the energies of love throughout the planet. Know that as you do this, an intense magnetic field of transforming power is being created that will draw the needed energies into the earth. Be open and receptive now to these powerful energies. Imagine them surrounding and integrating into the heart of the planet, touching all with the energy of dynamic love. Imagine that love filling you, irradiating your entire body. Now see yourself, feel yourself, walking among all those you meet and radiating this powerful love. See it manifest in the world through your radiation. Imagine it dispelling all illusions of separation between individuals, groups, and nations. Watch as it heals our planet. The exact moment is getting close, so I would like us to be in silence for the next 10 minutes as we open ourselves to the powerful downpouring of energy. I will ring the bell at the exact moment. But as we sit, let us contemplate how the energy of love and goodwill can transform our world. Create a vision of our world imbued with goodwill and love. Silence for 10 minutes. Be open and receptive. Before you bring yourself back, I'd like you to take just a moment to hold an intention to link up with every other person and group around the world who are sitting tonight in meditation at this full moon time. And together, through our linking up, we can create a beautiful chain of love. So let's take a moment to do that. May the love of the one soul focused in this group radiate upon humanity and all nations, healing, soothing, strengthening, and dissipating all that hinders service to the world. May the peace and blessings of the holy ones pour forth over all the world. And let us close with the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Om. 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 Namaste, friends. Thank you for joining us tonight.